today's class is all about balance and symmetry. So balance as in literal balance. We're going to do some Pilates stuff which is great for balance. We're also going to look at some exercises for everyday balance, for everyday people as I call it. And then looking at the symmetry from one side of the body to the other, which obviously affects our balance. So let's start with the feet shoulder width apart-ish, and just take one arm and reach it all the way up and back and past your ear and look behind you and then bring it forwards. Really quite slowly, noticing the rotation in your body as you do this. So the arm comes up by the ear, you're quite square with your shoulders and your hips. In order to turn that body as much as possible, you're going to pull back the shoulder behind you, your hips are going to rotate, your ankles are going to rotate. And then when you come to face forwards again or face the front again, everything squares up again. Brilliant. Change the direction, so take the arm behind you, up and over and forwards. So I want this to be comfortable, but I just want you to be aware of the changes in your body and also what makes it comfortable. If you keep your shoulder really square, that will feel uncomfortable. If you let everything open up, that should feel okay. Let's swap to the other arm. Up and over. And I'm also noticing, now that I'm getting into the swing of it, probably going a bit too fast, actually I'm going to slow down a little bit. There's a slight rotation in the opposite direction as I reach the arm up with my shoulders. As I turn and look behind me, if I really go for it, I can take the arm past 180. I can take it to the corner, and then that helps me to notice the rotation in my feet. I've gone to the outside edge of one foot, the inside edge of the other. I'm not transferring my weight, let's change the direction. I'm not transferring my weight from side to side in my feet. I'm trying to keep my feet, keeping my feet equally weighted, and so I'm rotating around my spine essentially. That spine, the plumb line, is still in place. So there's no leaning away from it, there's no movement of the hips, other than a rotational movement of the hips. Everything is rotating around the central line, the plumb line of the spine. First rhyme of class. Great, let's take some hip circles. So keeping the feet maybe a little bit closer than shoulder width apart. I'm going to put my hands on my ribs just to keep my rib cage and upper body fairly still. Softening the knees, circling the hips all the way around. As I just look down a moment, I'm trying to get those hips equally to the front, to the back, to the sides of that nice big circle, a hula hoop circle. Brilliant. And then thinking about the symmetry in the body, I'm going to go over to one leg and I'm going to stand on that one leg. Initially I'm going to look down and I'm now going to circle my hips around that one foot. The other foot is just like a bit of a bike stand, it's just there to help me balance. Once you've established that movement, just keep it going. So you're trying to go equally around the foot. So you're not in the middle here, sort of in between both legs. You're over to one leg. I could lift that leg up if I wanted to. That would make it significantly harder. That does really become a balancing exercise. But I don't want you to necessarily be worried about that. We're mobilising more than focusing on literal balance at the moment. But I'm looking for the symmetry in the hip joints, one side to the other. Once you've set yourself up, once you've noticed that you're going around that foot, lift the eye line so that you're not looking down anymore. Let's go to the other side. So initially, think about this side of your body circling all the way around that foot. The other leg is just helping to stabilise a little bit, Got my hands in, just done the nails position, even though I haven't done my nails. Lifting the head. Noticing the effect on the foot and the ankle as well as we do this. Great. Talking of feet and ankles, let's go to double knee circles. Bending the knees, feet and knees together, stick the bottom out a little bit so that your back is in a good neutral. Fingertips, only your fingertips just touching the knees. I find that that's the position that sets me up the best for my back. You might be a little bit higher, but essentially keeping the knees at the same height is what we're after. And then allowing the knees to circle around the feet quite equally. So changing direction. And then because I'm trying to make an equal circle around both feet, apart from the fact that I'm rocking up my mat, being in bare feet today, the weight is going onto the balls of my feet, the outside edge of one foot, the inside edge of the other, onto the heels, swapping over outside, inside edge. And I'm trying to make the circle quite even. Then onto one leg. Maybe keep the stance a little bit narrower. Look down, check out your knee. Can you make that knee go round all of those different... In fact, you're probably making roughly the same sort of size circle. My leg is bent. Lifting my chest once I've realised where that is. Thinking about the weight through the foot as I go. Changing direction. The other leg could be completely in the air, but that makes it much more difficult. So the other leg is just helping to stabilise me, just give me a little bit more balance and control over it. Over to the second leg, looking down initially. So I'm looking at the knee, the circle, the size of the circle, the shape of the circle that this knee cap is drawing. Then once I've got that going, changing direction. Now I'm much more aware of what's going on through the foot. I feel quite balanced. In the same way when we did the arms at the beginning, the big circles of the arms, my spine is staying in the same place. So there's none of this going on in the upper body. My spine is actually, my plumb line is over the centre of that foot. That's what's enabling me to circle around and stay quite balanced. Wonderful. I feel the need to do a little bit of an ankle twiddle there as well. Quite tough on the ankles and the feet. So bringing the feet together, coming back to the plumb line, thinking about our capital X. We want both sides of the body to stay even. So shoulders level, hips level with each other. We are just lifting one leg up and then lifting it up into a knee fold if you can. Placing the foot down, rolling through the foot, changing to the other side. Maybe just span your fingers and your thumbs apart, span them and then, not span them, yeah, place them on your torso. So you're checking out that there's no change here. Feel with your hands the size of your waist. Is that changing? Are you lifting your hip up when you lift that one leg up? Try, especially if you can see yourself in a monitor or something. I've just got the red, so I'm sort of in between my two pictures-ish. I'm trying not to take a big shift over to one side in order to lift the leg. So squeezing the legs together, focusing on that midline movement. Good. We're adding on some arm lift. So we're bringing the leg up on its own. The knee is opposite the hip, hopefully. As we place that leg down, we're going to take both arms up. We're swapping over. We're adding breathing to this. Breathing out as you lift the arms up. Breathing in as you lift the knee, growing taller. I felt myself gain a couple of inches then. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Looking for that central line and then equal movement on the opposite sides of the body. Good, similar thing, not quite the same. Plumb line still in the middle. We're going to take one leg out to the side. The opposite arm is going up on the diagonal, so we're creating a diagonal line across the body. The torso is staying exactly where it was. I have to take my plumb line over the ball of the standing foot. There's that straight line. And then, I'm getting stuck to my mat again, the arm and the leg are extending away from each other equally. There's no change. How do I achieve this? I achieve this by setting my torso, connecting the rib cage to the hips, lifting the ribs off of the hips. Bringing the feet together each time. Great job. Similar thing, not quite the same. I'm turning sideways so that you can see. We're going to take one leg to the back and the same arm is going up. So I've got my left leg behind me, my left arm goes up by my ear. I have to pitch slightly forwards, otherwise you're just going to get that collapse in your lower back. So lengthening out. Bring the foot together, the arm down, swap sides, you'll come more upright then. I think I might just go here and then I won't get stuck to my mat so much. That's better. So upright when your feet are together and the arm is down. A very subtle lengthen pitch forward. So I can just tap that heel if I want to. Looking for that symmetry. Good job. Okay, so that was a sort of very Pilates-ified, if you like, version of this, which is an everyday balancing exercise, which is just your standing marches. So not worrying too much about your feet being together, but just alternating, lifting one leg and then the other. And if you have an injury, if you've got a weak side, a weak hip, or you've had an operation on your hip, this is actually quite a scary thing to do. But it's good for your balance, to be able to transfer your weight from side to side, to instantly be able to take your plumb line, your centre of gravity over to that leg, lifting the other leg without feeling too wobbly. If this is an issue for you, or you know someone that needs to work on their balance, have some support. By all means, have some support. Whenever you do have support, make sure that you're not distorting your body position. So the best thing to do would actually be to have both hands touching something so that you're square onto it. And so again, we come back to that square box of the tissue. But we're going to add a little something to this, thinking about our fascial lines. So lifting the leg now, lifting one leg and just swinging the arm across. My goal is to keep the hip, and we're going to stay on the same side for a few. My goal is to keep the hips and the legs nice and square, and then I'm swinging the opposite arm across and sort of up to the corner where the ceiling and the wall meets. Swinging across and coming back down. And there'll be that natural swing back of the arm. Across to the opposite room, opposite side of the room, opposite corner. Good, the head will turn naturally as it swaps to the other side. So lifting the leg, swinging the arm across, placing it back down. Because I'm trying to have a little bit of momentum and flow, it feels natural to take that arm back. And then we start to get into the natural movement of the body. The opposition. So opposite arm to the forward leg, to the front leg, reaching up, coming back again. Perfect. Then we're going into not really a balance exercise, but definitely a symmetry exercise, definitely a strength exercise. Actually, it is a balance exercise because it's quite strong. We're going to bend the arms and we're going to bring the elbows back. One elbow at a time. You're keeping your arms in the same shape. We're going to come down into a feet and knees together squat. A narrow squat, not too low. And you're going to just move those arms again. Noticing that you're keeping your back really nice and still. Your back and your legs are still. Nothing's changing, just those elbows are pulling back, pulling back, pulling back, pulling back. That's the focus. Okay, I'm going to take one elbow forwards. I'm going to stay on one leg. I'm going to take the leg that's closest to you is going to go back. The arm that's furthest away from you is behind me. That elbow is back. So it's the same arm forwards as the back leg. And then we're going to swap by bringing the feet together and then swapping over. So the arms are changing each time. The three things are moving. 2 arms and 1 leg. Nothing else is moving. This is relatively easy because I'm tapping the floor each time. I'm going to make it a little bit harder by extending out, flexing that foot and then tapping the floor. Extending out, even harder still, keep the foot flexed, keep it in the air, extend, draw it in. So opposite arm to that front leg, the front leg. Now, when you're here, we are talking about balance. We're also talking about quite a lot of strength on that standing buttock, hip, trying to stabilise you. Ooh, yep, ba. Oh. And then we're talking about a lack of symmetry because I feel like I need to go around in a circle now rather than walking in a straight line. So let's do all of that on the other side. I'm going to swap to this side. Feet and knees together. Bend the knees, stick the bottom out. Think about the shape of your spine. Pinning the elbows back. Take the other leg back, so not the one you just did. Bring that same side. The leg is going to start on the floor. Bring the same arm forwards. Bring that elbow forwards. But actually focus on pinning the opposite one back. And then we're switching each time. Switching. Elbow back, elbow back. Elbow back, elbow back. Touching the floor. Only those 3 limbs moving. Arms from the shoulder, leg moving independently of the rest of the body. The rest of the body is fixed. You could straighten out that leg, come back into a tap, or keep the leg in the air. Whew. That's tough on this second side. Tough on the balance, tough on the stabilising muscles in the hips. Your back will be working hard. And then, ultimately, tough on the balance. Moving into deep squats. So feet are wide, toes are slightly out to the corner, sending the bottom back. In fact, let's go big X, elbows to knees. Keeping the chest up from the side, really sending the butt back. Knees are staying above the ankles just to get the back line of the body working. In the everyday balance exercises, this is basically your sit to stand. Sit to stand movement pattern. That's the one that you would be practicing if you just wanted to work on your balance. Let's take that into another balance exercise for everyday people. Moving sideways, a side step. In life we spend a lot of time walking forwards. This time we're going to go all the way to the side. So just taking a double side step. And then a tap to go back the other way. Again, unless you're you do regular exercise, This isn't your average movement in everyday life, unless every now and again you might be walking towards some and need to take one side step to avoid crashing into them. So let's take that now into some squats going to the side. So I'm turning my feet out a little bit more, starting with a more of a turn out into that squat, heels together, legs straight, feet staying turned out, and one more. So this is now much more challenging. Knees are going over the toes. I'm also looking for, and we're going to work on this a little bit more in a moment, on the symmetry between my legs. So it's very tempting to sort of half-heartedly not quite get in the middle. I want you in the middle and then feet equally weighted. You're either in this position or you're in the upright position. And again, that's challenging to get everything in place. Last one. Coming back up. Brilliant. We are going to take some side steps we've just done. We're going to take some squats again, but transfer the weight from not being symmetrical, so not being straight down in the middle, which is me here. I'm going to transfer my weight over to one side. The key here is, again, I've taken my plumb line over. Back into the middle, equally weighted. 75%, maybe not quite that much, over to the other side. Back into the middle and stand. And again, into the middle, over to one side, into the middle, over to the other side, into the middle, and come upright. Perfect. If you can, this is quite strong work. A lot of work on the hips and the butt today. We're going to come down into the middle. You're going to go over to one side, and you're going to stay on this one side, and you're going to straighten that leg on this one side. My other foot has come off the floor. It's there, but I'm keeping my plumb line over this standing leg. Bending that knee, sending the hips back, and then coming upright. 8 more of these if you can. Staying on that one side. So essentially, no idea how many that is, I think that's 4, 5. Essentially a single leg squat, which is really tough. Maybe one more there. And I'm going to come back to the middle. Roll that on the other side. Down in the centre. Over to one side. Staying here. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. So ideally, if you can do this in front of a mirror, perfect. You're checking that your shoulders and hips are staying level. Your waist equal, either side of the body is the same. Just try and forget about this foot here. Focus on doing a perfect one-legged squat. I have no idea how many I've done. I'm going to do 2 more. 10 of them if you can. And relaxing there. Great job.